From Our Blessed Virgin Mary. June 21, 2016. Indonesia watches in awe of the strength of the volcanoes as the land shakes. April 23, 2016. In Italy, volcanoes that lay asleep will awaken. February 28, 2016. The volcanoes awaken and you ignore it. When the great volcanoes of the world erupt with the force they have contained and raise entire populations, bringing the darkness of the night closer, it will be then that man will be able to experience some respect for the warnings heaven has sent. January 28, 2016. Pray, the volcanoes will be the scourge of man. Mexico will suffer for this reason, Ecuador will suffer. Unknown volcanoes will be news. December 24, 2015. Do not forget that Rome will be in the news and the volcanoes will speak of death around the world. November 28, 2015. Children, you will suffer because of Earth's continuous shaking. Land will shake where it did not shake before, where land remained firm, it will open, where volcanoes had stopped roaring, they will roar again with great force. November 22, 2015. And in that rebellion of nature, I call you to pray for Ecuador, it will suffer because of the volcanoes. My children, pray for Indonesia, its colossus will awaken. October 17, 2015. My children, pray, the Etna volcano will be grounds for alert. August 19, 2015. There will be great changes, the volcanoes will erupt and these will cause geographic changes. June 17, 2015. Pray, my children, pray for Italy. The great volcano will wake up to announce to these my beloved people that, just like it awakens, those who do not love my Son's church have awakened and plan to enter that territory. June 15, 2015. Beloved children, do not be afraid of earthquakes, or volcanoes, or winds that will lash, or cold, or heat. Be afraid of offending my Son and be afraid of not repenting. 1 May 2015. Pray, my children, the volcanoes will wreak havoc. 5 March 2015. One after another, volcanoes will surprise man. 3 February 2015. Nature is coming closer to man for him to wake up before so much evil that surrounds and takes possession of mine, the volcanoes speak to man. January 21, 2015. The volcanoes are awakening, those who were dormant have awakened to alert man, so he won't deny more his God and return his gaze toward the only one who surrendered his life for the redemption of the human race. January 14, 2015. My beloved, in several countries the volcanoes will erupt bringing death to my children. You must prepare yourselves well. You know that my Son's path is not one of torture, but one of surrender, joy, and happiness in light of the hope for eternal life. November 14, 2014. Earth moans, and when it moans it talks to man via the volcanoes. 8 November 2014. Volcanoes will remind man of the power of nature, which man has invaded. Mount Etna will remember it is alive, Sicily will suffer because of it. October 13, 2014. My beloved, the earth that disowned its children, who cradled it with love, will let flow from the volcanoes its pain. September 24, 2014. Pray, my children, pray for Ecuador, the volcanoes roar. August 20, 2014. See how the earth reacts before the blood of the innocents, if earth and all of creation obey the divine will. Man is ignored by creation who reacts against him, trembling, and fire coming out of the volcanoes, by floods, because creation wishes man to stop bullying himself. Humanity must stop violence. June 16, 2014. Beloved, the earth is cracking and the heat of the volcanoes will be a blockage between countries. Man has mercilessly destroyed his home, he will regret it. 4th of June 2014 Pray for Mexico, it will be shaken and at the same time it will suffer from the fury of the volcanoes. May 30, 2014 Wake up my children. Do not wait until the volcanoes explode in anger, do not wait until the earth shakes, do not wait until the waters of the oceans invade the land, do not wait until the wind destroys towns, do not wait asleep, for time is not time and the instant has ceased to be an instant. April 14, 2014 Children, already the earth is exhausted, constantly receiving humanity's sin and grave offenses, and it is sick because of man, it vomits man's sin through volcanoes, it shakes before the pain of so many innocents that suffer and, when it shakes, the waters of the seas rise again. 10 March 2014 Pray, children, because the volcanoes will let the ardor they contain within emerge from themselves. 5 March 2014 Great populations will be devastated by the fury of their volcanoes, fire burns and the earth allows it to come out to the outside. January 31, 2014 The volcanoes are the breathing of the earth that keep incandescent heat in their bowels, and this incandescent heat will be spilled, and with it the emanation of harmful gases will not wait and will run through the slopes of great volcanoes feared by man, but for which the instant to awaken has arrived, precisely to accelerate the purification of all of humanity. 5 January 2014 Pray, children, volcanoes awaken with severity and those who are mine will suffer. December 31, 2013 Beloved, the earth has been ravaged by man. But the earth will be reborn, not without first being contaminated by nuclear energy, the scourge of the final instance, misery for the faithful and poisoning of the earth that emanates through the volcanoes, its state of agony throughout all the planet. Children, humanity will be surprised by the fury of volcanoes still unknown. Man will again live without the sun's heat. Pray, the Yellowstone volcano will mercilessly scourge all of humanity. Reflection from Luz de Maria October 15, 2013. The volcanoes awaken, as if they had put them in a sequence to prepare man and by some way motivate him to elevate himself spiritually. Reading the life of the saints, we admire them and that is good, but it must motivate us to change, to that unrest that does not allow us to sleep if we have not been able to do something, no matter how small, so that humanity increases in its awareness of the love of Christ. 8 September 2013 Beloved children of my Immaculate Heart, in the depths of the earth not only does fire move and shake, not only the gases that will rise through several volcanoes, but the foundations of the earth itself move, shaking the peoples little by little, without these peoples being able to help on time those who will suffer in a constant sequence. 5 June 2013 I have spoken to you so much throughout the world, calling you to remain alert about nature, which will purify man. Volcanoes will erupt in continuous explosions, the waters will become agitated, the winds will cause man pain and great destruction, all of this because man does not see the proximity of the fulfillment of my announcements. February 16, 2013 The center of the earth burns before the sentiments men emanate, they penetrate the earth leading it to allow volcanoes to emanate this ardor and surprise with their fury. 10 October 2012 The earth awakens because of the roar of some volcanoes as it shakes. August 29, 2012 The power of the volcanoes will be felt, the earth will continue to shake with force, so much so that you will not be able to help one another. 5 November 2012 I announce to you because I love you and as a mother, I await the conversion of all. The instant is pressing, the earth will sink and volcanoes will erupt with greater force. Instruments Commentary June 15, 2011 During the message I was presented with a vision, and I saw a ball of fire coming towards the earth and it burst through the atmosphere and the earth shook. I also saw several volcanoes erupt. Instruments Commentary 7 January 2011. All of the cosmos unites with nature to warn about the proximity of events on Earth, in the air, in the sea, in volcanoes. The elements unite so that mankind returns to God. Instruments Commentary June 28, 2010. Today our Blessed Mother gave me the following vision. I saw a large clock, like those used in churches. I saw it tick for a few seconds and it stopped. At that moment in which it stopped, the hand of God appears in the clock. His hand was moving as if it were the hands of the clock. Our time is no longer time, let us not measure it in the human way. I saw a new tsunami, several volcanoes erupting, and devastated towns, pain, hunger, disease. June 28, 2010. In the depths of the earth, fire is quickly preparing to rise to the surface. Soon you will see with astonishment several volcanoes that cause unimaginable and great pain for many nations. The water at the bottom of the sea is becoming rough water in order to quickly jump towards the land. This is because the earth will move again and will shorten the present instant. Instruments Commentary March 19, 2010. Another topic, at the center of the earth there is fire and fire of sin. The Mother says it is rising. Will it come out through volcanoes? Fire and water, two themes that should make us meditate and pray. Countdown? Yellowstone on verge of huge eruption. Geologist warns. May 13, 2015. Pray, my children, the Yellowstone volcano threatens humankind. December 31, 2013. Children, humanity will be surprised by the fury of volcanoes still unknown. Man will again live without the sun's heat. Pray, the Yellowstone volcano will mercilessly scourge all of humanity. Dialogue for Humanity between Our Blessed Virgin Mary and Luz de Maria 10 April 2014. Pray, the conscience of humanity will be alarmed before an event of Yellowstone. The Archangels November 14, 2012. The Earth continues to shake from one point to another on the globe and thus it will continue, volcanoes will rise and man will suffer. Saint Michael the Archangel 3 November 2015. It is of the utmost importance, children, that you pray for Indonesia, because besides the shaking of its land, fire will come out from the volcanoes and cause great misfortune for man. As of January 29, 2015, Hank Hessler, a park geologist stationed at Yellowstone National Park since 2002, publicly announced and put only a 2-week time frame for the supervolcano located under the park to erupt. Although no one knows for sure if Hessler's prediction will come true, it does set an eerie overtone for people located within a 1,000-mile swath of the park. Interestingly enough, this information dovetails with information previously reported by IntelliHub, making Hessler's claims all that much more real. Not to mention the fact that there was more than 1,900 documented earthquakes throughout the park in 2014 alone as swarm activity continues to increase. On March 4, 2014, IntelliHub came across information, by an unnamed source, who reported that the White House had ordered the United States Geological Survey (USGS) to suppress earthquake swarm data within the region to hide what may be coming from the general public. And this is where it gets scary, as Yellowstone and a 1,000-mile swath surrounding the park's supervolcano may be on the brink of extinction-level event (ELE). In fact, reports suggest that ancient helium-4 gas has breached the surface layers of Yellowstone's crust and is now escaping into the Earth's atmosphere. Coupled with the recent and abrupt ground level rise in the park, we may be looking at a recipe for disaster. After all, Michio Kaku, a famous theoretical physicist, pointed out in a January 2011 newscast which aired on CNN, when it blows Yellowstone, it could destroy the United States as we know it. That's what is making us nervous. Shockingly, later in the newscast, Kaku went on to explain how a 1,000-mile ring of the U.S. would likely be destroyed if the supervolcano actually went. And to make matters worse, geologists all conclude that the park is long overdue for an eruption. In fact, the last Yellowstone eruption was thought to have happened around 630,000 years ago, meaning we are about 30,000 years overdue, literally putting us in the hot seat, front row. Kaku also pointed out that, every single burp, murmur, of this gigantic supervolcano, including the rise above sea level, has to be watched very carefully. So basically, if you do the math for the disaster zone radius, the first 100 miles emanating out from ground zero would be completely wiped out. After that, 90% devastation would span out another 500-plus miles from ground zero, making a 1,000-mile diameter ring that will essentially be fully decimated from the blast. Additionally, this would essentially put what's left of the United States into a state of emergency, and full-on martial law would be declared under National Security Presidential Directive (NSPD) 51. And it gets even worse. Although there is no way I can vouch for the information, I simply can't. But according to a random individual who posted a video on YouTube, the USGS has likely been ordered by Washington to suppress information regarding recent seismic activity and gaseous releases in and around the Yellowstone region as a possible ELE in on the way. This information came directly from a connected individual, according to the video, which also points out that they are expecting the big one. However, the man's source has not yet been revealed. And once again, I myself cannot vouch for this personally. I just want to make that clear. But more importantly, all of this matches up with actual data I was able to reference showing a rise of ground level in the park of more than 10 inches in the last week of February 2014 alone. So naturally this has me troubled, as Michio Kaku himself stated. As the ground starts to rise, more and more earthquakes take place. That's about all the warning we get, answering a question regarding a forewarning. Kaku finished with, "It will happen, and when it does, it will destroy North America as we know it." During the last eruption, 640,000 years ago, vast amounts of North America were covered in at least 12 inches of ash. A recent KSFY exclusive report notes, if Yellowstone had a super eruption right now, crops would be lost, making it impossible to feed cattle, which would die. Grocery store prices would skyrocket as meat, grains and milk would be in short supply. Face masks would be mandatory, as breathing in volcanic ash is essentially the same as breathing in small particles of glass, and all of this would lead to a Mad Max-like scenario across the U.S. The people who actively watch this situation seemingly fall into two camps: those who think the Yellowstone volcano will never erupt again and those who think it will happen tomorrow. Reported by KSFY.